Hello. A lot of people have asked for a tour of the studio, and one of those kind of videos where you show off what you've got or what the space is or anything like that. So this is said video. This is Blackhill Studios. This is what I kind of set up as a mixing room and a songwriting room and a production room. This is where I spend most of my time on the main setup. So I have a stupid chair that's kind of designed by the person who did all the chairs in Star Trek Next Generation, but it's good for your back and posture. We've got our Atc Monitoring, which are the same set of speakers that are on the meter bridge at Abbey Road. They are absolutely ridiculous and amazing, and I love them dearly. We've got all of our kind of controlling stuff. It's all instant recall, so we can bring up a project from 2 years ago, it's all instantly there. We've got our console one, which is kind of like having a big SSL desk with all the controls on it. Got faders, we've got a load of preamps up there. It sounds like on something like this. Loads of top mix engineers around the world use those. I know that Spike Stent uses a boombox, and Senzo Townsend uses them. Loads and loads of engineers use them. It's also nice to check vinyls. We do get some vinyls printed for our clients by Lay to the Grave over in Portsmouth, so it's useful to kind of check those and be able to listen to them in downtime for great speakers. A monitor controller which has tape all over it, because it's important to know what levels you're listening to stuff at, so the room's properly calibrated and I know what volumes are set in the room with a noise meter. A set of really good headphones to check mixes on. I also have my little earbuds that I know as well, so you can just check what mixes sound like on everything. Even though we've got great speakers, you need to check it on stuff. Here we kind of have guitar land, so got a couple of amplifiers, an Ignator amplifier that was designed by Bob Ignator, who used to be guitar tech for Steve Vai and a load of top guys in America, and he built this amplifier called a tweaker, which was he pitched it to the company that let's make an amplifier where you can swap out certain sections of the amplifier by putting different cards in and out of it. The marketing department told him he was an idiot, so they ended up with all the cards built into one amplifier. So it's insanely versatile, and you can switch over to have it kind of having the tone stack from a Fender, a Vox, a Marshall, vintage and modern kind of power amp, a distorted or a clean preamp, and you've got kind of these other switches for voicings. We've got the orange, which is great. It just has that kind of mid-range bitey sound. I love it. It's kind of a bit more like their vintage models. It's voiced like that. Both of them are small wattage because I'd rather drive an amplifier really hard, like people used to. I don't see the point in having a 100-watt amplifier and barely using it. I'd rather have a small wattage amplifier and absolutely crank it and get a bit of the power amp stage starting to crush like the old records would. We've got a range of pedals. We have more. They're all over the place. It's great to be able to experiment with sounds, to reamp through all this kind of stuff. I've got a few pedals up on my desk that I use for reamping as well. Yeah, and then going on more with guitars, if we flip round, so move the stool out of the way. We have a huge range of guitars here. We've got this 30-year-old Lease acoustic, which used to be in a collector's collection. Someone used to collect Martin guitars, had that in with a load of Martins in one of the crazy rooms that was temperature and humidity controlled. And this is quite a weird Canadian make that's like 30 years old, plays like a Martin. It's a bit like a D18. And when we got that and we put it on the website, we had collectors get in touch with us asking for details and serial numbers and all this kind of stuff. I love that guitar. It's great for songwriting on. Then we have Starcaster. This guitar was my engagement guitar. I bought her a ring, she bought me a guitar. I knew she was the right person. We've got this crazy Parker that's got piezo pickups in the bridge, so you can get acoustic tones out of it, and you can blend it in with telly tones, which is great on country music. Or things where you want a clean twang, it's quite good in prog as well, because it really cuts. Crazy SG, which was a suit edition. They layered different pieces of wood. It's just like a laminate, but they dyed each layer a different colour and then sanded it to give this kind of pattern. I put bare knuckle pickups in it, P90 in the bridge, the one that they make that's meant to sound like Led Zeppelin in the bridge, and the neck's the P90, sorry. And a kill switch on the volume pot, with this weird push down to kill. We have a short scale bass because we do a lot of songwriting and stuff with singer-songwriters and people who don't always play bass, and a short scale bass feels a lot more like a guitar in its length and doesn't scare people, and the weight's not crazy, and it's got P and J pickups in it, and we get really good takes out of people who are the guitarists in bands if they have to pick up the bass for whatever reason. Not that I'm saying anything about bass players there, but you know, songwriters also sometimes want to put bass on their tracks. It's much easier for them to play that if they don't play bass very often. We've got a Super Strat here that is something that I put together out of parts as a kid. The DiMarzio pickups, the Floyd Rose that's made up of parts of Floyd Roses I liked, and with a Van Halen kind of drop tuner. Crazy wiring and push-pull switches that don't coil split, they do weird phase stuff and series parallel stuff. That's really cool to play, I like that. This thing, which no one can tell me what it is, was left here by a client. It's very odd, it looks like it came out of Star Trek, it's weird. There's another awful guitar I built as a kid. There's a bouzouki, which is tuned to open G, and it's kind of good on country music or anything you want to sound like Led Zeppelin. We have this cello guitar here, which was built for a friend of mine who I did his album, Mitch Wiseman, and it's kind of here for when I want to put strings on stuff. You play it like a guitar. It's got a cello scale length and cello strings on it. You can plug it in. It's kind of cool, but this was the first one that the guy made for him that did this, and I think he learned the mistakes from this. Mitch has a really nice version of this now. This one has a few things with the intonation that make it a bit harder to play, but it's cool to have around and interesting. What else do we have? We have my Trini Lopez, which I hold very dear. It's an incredible guitar. It's kind of like a 335 crossed with a Firebird with these diamond inlays on it. It's similar to the Dave Grohl signature guitar, but Dave Grohl based it on one of these. It sounds insanely cool and has loads of clarity when you've got loads of gain on it, so it sounds great. We have this PRS reclaimed wood Vela, which is my most recent purchase. I love dearly. It's got really nice pickups on it, push-pull split on the bridge pickup. Just PRS make incredible guitars. And this is a reclaimed wood series, so you can't make guitars out of wood from the rainforest anymore for obvious reasons. And they went on a hunting spree for wood that had been cut down years ago and was being kind of ripped down, not getting used properly. So that was on the outside of a building in Brazil for 100 years, being dried in the sun. PRS bought the wood when it was being stripped off the building, and I ended up with a cool guitar at the end of it. But it's got like nail holes in it and stuff. So, like here, you can see that that's like a nail had been in that, holding it onto a building or something. Don't know whether you're going to pick that up on the camera all that well, but you can just see it's not lived It's not what you would usually build a guitar out of, but the wood's great. It sounds amazing. And it kind of plays a bit more like a cross between an electric and acoustic with the neck. The neck just feels like it should be on an acoustic guitar. I love this guitar quite a lot. Then we have my crazy 70s bass with a crazy bridge on it, stereo wiring, so a bit like a Rickenbacker, and this modified bridge that the original version wouldn't let you do intonation, but this is kind of a similar period kind of bridge. It's all see-through, and we believe that this was a prototype for a company called CSL, and then that company got bought by Ibanez, so you can buy this exact bass with CSL on the headstock and with Ibanez on the headstock, but this seems older than any of them from the age on it, and you know, the patina on bits and pieces of hardware, and it doesn't have anything on the headstock, so our running theory is that this was the prototype for that, which is cool. Then we have our whiteboard, which we use for checking projects and keeping up with stuff, and we draw the big grid on it you see everywhere in studios when you're doing an album. There are two other guitars which aren't over in that corner, so I've got my trusty studio Strat here, which has lived a very hard life, as you can tell from all of the wear on it. I believe all this wear is pretty damn genuine. It's not. It's an old body. Bare knuckle pickups there, and a Seymour Duncan like custom antiquity bridge pickup that I've got the box for up there, which was utterly ridiculous. It's got some crazy wiring in it that I did. Yeah, this thing sounds incredible. And for that reason, and that or the PRS usually lives by my side over here. The other guitar is over here, and it's a high strung, so it gets used a lot in Nashville, and effectively is what the top set on a 12 string would be. So rather than having a 12 string and having both, this is what the high set of strings on a 12 string would be, so out of tune, but you can tell it's a hell of a lot higher and needs to be tuned. So then this brings us over to this part, past the comfy sofa. Over here is where we store all of our microphones. So we've got all the drum mics up here, so a load of Lewitt drum microphones. DI boxes, cable testers and headphones all in this unit. Condenser microphones in here. You know, these racks have got mics in. Then we've got some books to kind of help with songwriting, so ideas and quotations, the craft of lyric writing, dictionary of proverbs, that book's hilarious, and a few books just to read if you are here and chilling out between sessions can sometimes take a while, so biographies, things to do with music, some vinyls, some kind of like coffee table books of guitar stuff. We store a few bits and pieces down here, so we've got power cables, a few extra audio cables that don't have a home at Grouse. This is kind of all of our merch stuff. Some ribbon microphones are down here. A microwave, which is useful for long sessions or late night stuff. All of our drum kit, so when we're not using it, it kind of lives here. We've got a couple of snares, there's a steel one, there's a wooden one in a case somewhere. Tamer Star Classic, you know, sounds pretty damn good. Over here, synths, so Roland SH101. This is the first synth that Korg ever made, so it's all crazy and wooden. Cool old school switches on it. Roland JX3P that I am soon to take apart to do a service on. This Fatal SL880 key bed. It's got a really nice action for a kind of piano sound, like feel for programming, and it's also got your pitch wheel and your modulation wheel as if it was a synth. So it's quite good for pianists to play on, and then we play some sample libraries or stuff off the computer, and they've got a set of headphones out here for it. This is probably my favourite synth. It's a Roland Organ Strings 09. I don't quite know what the 09 stands for, because it definitely didn't come out in 2009. It's a proper old kind of 80s thing. But it's like a string machine with an organ in it. So you kind of hold a chord down and it will play that chord until you play another chord, and you've got like a release time on it. But it's an odd thing to play, but it sounds incredible, and it's got anyone who's into their synths and they know about like the analog kind of Roland chorus type stuff, this has that kind of ensemble chorus built into it over here with modes 1 and 2. It just sounds awesome. That's probably my favourite synth in here. Then I've also got my controller synth down here, which you didn't see when you saw the desk, which is an Arturia, which links in with a load of software that I use. It's got wood sides, so the MIDI sounds better, supposedly. Shortcut keyboard, so other people and my assistants know all my crazy shortcuts. We've covered this area pretty well, but I'll probably do some more in-depth stuff if people want it. About bits and pieces of gear or the preamps we've got. It's very hard to show off how great these speakers are and how obsessed I am with them on a video, but I could chat about them on a video. We've also got lots of lamps. Got the lava lamp, which every studio should have, and lots of cool little bits and pieces like Star Trek Enterprise and the Star Wars stuff, which I can edit some shots in maybe of that. Yeah, it's just full of weird, quirky stuff, this place. It's kind of an expression of me. We've got the live room, which we haven't tidied up for this video, really. We've got a few microphones set up. We've got some vocal mics out. We've got a couple of microphones on a guitar cab because I was doing some reamping earlier in the week. We've got another piano in here, which the MIDI feeds through to the other room. That's got piano action on it as well, so people can come in here. This one also makes sound, so it's got its own sound engine. So if you're in a session and you want to come in and do some songwriting on an acoustic guitar and close the door, or you want to play on a piano, or you're singing and you want to check a note, this makes its own sounds. So it's not reliant on the computer to make sounds for it, but we can take the MIDI from this and we can record the MIDI information in there. So you can be playing a song here with a microphone in front of you and your MIDI information, and we get all of that from it. We've got a 2x10 and a 2x12 cab down here, and we've also got a screen in here now, which is going to be an interesting shot to spin around for. But yeah, so having a screen in here means that when someone's singing and doing some vocal takes, we can have the lyrics up. I can be kind of highlighting sections for them in the song, so they know that this is the section we need to focus on. If we're doing voiceover for people, we can have a video up there so they can see the video they're trying to do the voiceover on. There's a lot of really good reasons to have that there, and it makes sense. We've got this area over here with my Lego Saturn V, which is of course key to the studio, and some Ralph McQuarrie artwork from Star Wars, because I am that much of a nerd. And then this is kind of admin, assistant area, and a little bit of a soldering testing station, because we wire up cables and make our own bits and pieces for here. But yeah, I think that's everything on a reasonably quick tour. I don't know how long this video is going to be, but if you've watched all of it, thank you very much. Like and subscribe, whatever platform this is on, or comment or ask questions on what you'd like us to do a proper video on, or if you want me to talk in depth on something rather than skimming over things, and I will try and make that work for you. I've been Tom, this has been Blackhill Studios. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you very much.